Hey, what's up, everybody? Oklahoma game day is upon us once again. Week 4, and the Sooners have hit the road for their Big 12 opener at Cincinnati. Just sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? At Cincinnati. Doesn't matter. AllSooners has got Saturday's game covered from pregame to postgame. By the time you guys watch this now, the AllSooners team will be in the Queen City. We're looking forward to bringing you guys wall-to-wall coverage all weekend. I'm John Hoover, publisher at AllSooners, and I want to bring in Ryan Chapman and Randall Sweet to help me dissect this thing one last time this week before kickoff. It's OU, it's Cincinnati, Saturday, 11 a.m. The game is on Fox, so if you're watching big noon kickoff, don't touch that dial, right? The Sooners are 3-0 after another easy win over Tulsa, 66-17. Man, OU just walked through one of the easiest non-conference schedules in recent memory, which is kind of what we all expected, I have to say, but I do think we've identified some real progress in year 2 under Brent Venables. That's easy to see. Now, guys, I know it's early, and I know they haven't even started Big 12 play yet, right? As of today. But everything you've seen so far, is the Big 12 this year Oklahoma and Texas's league to lose? Or is everyone's non-con schedule just a little too watered down right now to make that call just yet?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. It's Texas gap, Oklahoma gap, everybody else. Oklahoma, we've seen some improvements. They've got to prove it, but we've talked all offseason about the schedule and how easy it's laid out, and it just looks worse and worse and worse. BYU's look shaky even though they got that big win in Arkansas. I'm not sure that Chandler Morris is the answer at TCU. Oklahoma State, their offensive line, major issues. Even UCF dealing with injuries to John Rice Plumlee. You look at Texas. Is Alabama as good as Alabama's been? Probably not, but that's still a really talented group, and Texas's offensive line handled them. And the defensive line looks like maybe the best defensive line in the Big 12. They get the best wide receivers in the Big 12. Quinn Ewers taking those steps forward. As of right now, it's OU and Texas. Nightmare scenario for the rest of the Big 12, but I think that that's to be expected when you look at the fact that as more and more of those COVID seniors are graduated out, it's back to not 23, 24-year-old, 6-year college players at the K-States of the world. In Oklahoma and Texas always have been the most talented. I'm sorry, Brett Yormark. That's the fact of recruiting. I know you don't follow that, but that is what it is. And it looks like they're the most talented teams in the Big 12 so far this season.
I do think that right now, obviously, Texas and Oklahoma being the two unbeatens in the Big 12, BYU is obviously unbeaten as well. I think that Texas and Oklahoma, though, seem like the two front runners, but I don't think that it's necessarily theirs to lose. I would say that Oklahoma specifically still has to go to Provo, Utah, and that's a team that a BYU team that beat Arkansas last week. So OU still has to prove that they're not a replica of last year's team that kind of collapsed once they got into Big 12 play. I think before we can really say that the Big 12 is Oklahoma's or Texas's to lose. Obviously we haven't seen Texas win the Big 12 in years, and so I think that personally I really need to see it before I can believe it with Texas. I think even Oklahoma, given what we saw last year from them. Now that being said, I think that the best chances to kind of compete for that are BYU and Kansas State.
Yeah, listen, sorry, but I'm making the call right now. Barring injuries, Oklahoma and Texas will play in Arlington for the Big 12 championship. They're the class of the conference, the best two teams right now. They've shown it. You know what? If they want the trophy presented to them after the game, they might have to call DoorDash or something, because I'm not even sure Brett Yormark or anyone from the Big 12 offices will be there in the building when this game goes down. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Okay, second question, and it's a little easier, I think. Have we seen the ceiling yet for Oklahoma's defense? That's the question. Is it all downhill from here, or can this team keep showing improvement? Now, think about this for a second. Most of the guys on this roster are going to play in the SEC next year, so I don't think what we saw in the non-con is anywhere close to the ceiling for what this program can be. Program, I said. Have you seen some of the dudes that Brent Venables and his staff are recruiting, right? But what about this year's team? I do think there's a real vibe that things are about to get real for the Oklahoma Sooners. Things are about to get serious with Big 12 play finally here. So I don't know how they're going to do any better than what we've seen already. But I guess we'll see, right? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the best of this defense so far. This might be where it peaks out ranking-wise, but as far as the effect on the game, when you look at it, Peyton Bowen, I think, is going to be a star, and he's just scratching the surface of what he can be. You've got a couple of really young linebackers alongside Danny Stutzman and Kip Lewis and Jaron Kanik that we are going to get better and better. We'll see those guys get better throughout the year. Deshaun McCullough's played one quarter of football so far, and you look at Gentry Williams, Kenai Walker, and the secondary, those guys are just going to get more comfortable. And I think Oklahoma's best pass rusher by the end of the year could be P.J. Adebawore, the true freshman, who is only going to get better as the snaps goes on. So I think it's one of those things where you look at Oklahoma's defense and, man, it looks like there are a bunch of young pieces that are going to be ball players for this team. You give a whole season for Brent Venables, Todd Bates, Miguel Chavis, Jay Valai, Brandon Hall, Ted Roof, all those guys to get after it. And I think that they're going to get better and better. And I think they're going to be able to add more and more as far as blitz packages, things like that. I think this defense is going to be really effective. And I think that this defense, it might not be an elite top 30 unit like it is statistically through 3 games as they play better teams. But I think the level of plays, I think this group's only going to get deeper. And in turn, they'll be better and more effective come December.
I honestly, I think that we have seen the ceiling for this team, for this defense, I mean. Well, I don't think that means the defense will perform poorly. I mean, a 6 turnover performance is going to be hard to top all season. I know that OU did allow some points in that game, but still, as well as the defense has looked through 3 games, allowing a high of 17 points, forcing, I think, 8 turnovers in that span in those three games. I think that that's going to be hard to top at any other stretch during the season, just given who the level of competition that Oklahoma's defense will play the rest of the year. Now, I think that they can still perform at a very high level and still play well, but I do think that kind of that upper echelon, the ceiling, the top of what they will be this year, I think we've seen that already, and I think really that's just a factor of the competition that they've played so far, and that, I mean, obviously, these next few stretches will be a lot more difficult.
All right, good stuff, fellas. Hey, remember to keep checking in at AllSooners.com the rest of the weekend as we bring you our preview coverage of Oklahoma-Cincinnati. Of course, we'll be there throughout the day since Saturday. All Sooners readers know, you guys know by now, you're going to get wall-to-wall coverage of the game as the 3 of us bring it to you from Cincinnati. We're going to be on site in the press box on the field watching that thing. We're going to have pregame. We're going to have the in-game live blog. We're going to have post-game interviews from players and coaches. We're going to have our post-game reaction. We're going to have the All Sooners post-game podcast, which is certified fresh from the press box, and much, much more throughout the day. Just keep it right here at AllSooners.com. For Ryan Chapman and Randall Sweet, I'm John Hoover. See you guys.